Vindication, do you feel vindicated? How do you feel today? Is it, when you look at these numbers, what are relief?
Uh, Faye, in case you are talking about my projections and them coming right, that's one of the things, I've done this several times. You get it right, you get it wrong. Yes, there is some satisfaction. Yes, you feel, all right, I'm not so much out of touch with reality. But that truly is one of the trivial stories of the day. The big story of the day is that electoral system in this country works. Because
Mm.
honestly, earlier I had come to, I mean, in the last 48 hours, I was beginning to have these doubts. All these years, I have personally carried a campaign against the EVM conspiracy theories. And
Yes.
I've said, please don't believe in these things. And my friends have been very annoyed with me because I don't believe in those theories. And last 48 hours, I spent worrying not so much about exit polls, but about the possibility that there may have been some hanky-panky somewhere. That hasn't happened, and that's such a good news. And above all, Faye, the big news is not forecasting, the big news is not machine. The big news is democracy is alive and kicking in this country. That people can show the mightiest of this world can be brought to dust, which is what we have seen. Look at the kind of election that we had. Was it a match where one party has all the resources in the world, the other one has their bank account frozen, where one party can line up the entire media of this country to be its spokespersons? Sometimes on television channels, I felt, why do you invite BJP spokespersons? You are better spokesperson than them. You know, the entire mainstream media of this country was acting as their spokesperson. They would not let people know the truth. For example, electoral bond. Media ensured that the truth of electoral bond never reached the people of this country. You know, and you had the entire establishment, bureaucracy, police, ED, IT, and unfortunately, the Election Commission of India working for the BJP, working as headquarters and employees of the BJP. In that situation, if that party with so much power, so much stranglehold over everything, in that match, if the party ends up with 240, some 30 seats below the majority mark, this cannot be called anything but a popular mandate and verdict against the ruling party and against the prime minister himself. There cannot be any two interpretations of what has happened today. And that for me is great news. It's great news because we know that no one can fiddle with the constitution. We know that people cannot be taken for granted. And we know that no matter who becomes the prime minister, I expect democracy to open up in this country. I expect media to be a shade more neutral, would be too big a thing, a shade less captured than it is today. I expect the judiciary to be able to read the letter, if not the spirit of the law. And I expect institutions to begin to bend by a degree or two towards the constitution of this country. That for me is real success of today's mandate.
Some of the interesting developments from today, Mr. Yadav, is that the BJP lost Ayodhya. Is that
Yes,
is that
indeed.
indicative
Poetic
of
justice, I
something?
would say. Although, as you know, Ayodhya town is a very small component of that territory, of that constituency, Faizabad. And there are all kinds of local dynamism. But, it's like poetic justice. All poetic justice has that element where you say, okay, somehow justice has prevailed. For me, Ayodhya was important. But, equally important for me was the loss of Mr. Ajay Mishra Teni, who symbolized a rule of terror, who symbolized arrogance, who symbolized the complete unaccountability of the regime.
Yes.
He has lost. Lots and lots of farmers would feel vindicated. So, yes, there is a poetic justice in what has happened.
But I do want to ask you about exit polls because you're someone who understands elections so well. They were We had a whole bunch of polls that came out that all indicated that the BJP was going to better its previous number of 303. Today they're all saying, hey, you know what? This happens. We get it wrong once in a while. But I just want to point out that on Monday, the stock market ran up a great deal. A lot of people made a lot of money on the back of those exit polls. Is it fair to turn around and say, hey, we made a mistake, let bygones be bygones, let's move on? Is that okay? Do you agree with that response?
Faye, there are two kinds of reactions we should avoid. One is to say, oh, it happens, it's all right. The second response is to kick someone who's down. The easiest thing in the world is to say, you got it wrong, you picked one person, he cries on television. I mean, all these are very unseemly things. And to make someone, who gets it wrong. I've done surveys and I've got it wrong sometimes, and I know what it feels to get it wrong. So, to my mind, we should avoid both these things and to simply go for professional accountability and scrutiny instead of getting into all this theater, either dancing or making someone cry. Wouldn't it be
What is
better if
professional
we,
accountability in this context, sir?
number one, transparency? All
Mhm.
over the world, opinion polls are required to be transparent. Can editors in this country come together and say, we shall not publish any opinion poll unless it tells us what is the sample size, what is the sampling technique, what is the methodology through which it's converted, what is the profile of the sample in terms of male, female, rural, urban, age, social breakup, and so on and so forth. And disclosure. If any pollster has any pecuniary interest, which is to say money interest involving any political party, it must be put up front. So that what it would do, when say someone like me makes projections, I always begin by saying, I'm a political worker. This is my politics. I'm opposed to BJP. My organization is working for this, and here is my assessment. Would it not be right for every pollster to be required to say, I'm doing this exit poll, but remember 90% of my money comes from BJP or from Congress, for whom I'm an in-house consultant?
Mm.
That should be made mandatory. This disclosure and conflict of interest, these are universal norms. Why are these not followed in India? So I'm not interested in flogging who gets it wrong today. I would much rather get into institutional reforms and professionalization of opinion polls. The CSDS has set very high standards. I'm proud to say, an institution that I belonged to earlier. And why can't everyone else be made to follow the same norms?
You see, Yadav, should there be professional accountability demanded from the mainstream, what we call corporate media? Because through the course of this election, they were effectively campaign bugles for the BJP. Let's not beat around the bush and call a spade a spade. They've buried stories, they have attacked the opposition, they've done the bidding of the people in power. At this point, I mean, yes, you did say you're hoping for a more fair media, but should there be accountability for the behavior of the media so far?
Absolutely. You can say it again and again and again. I mean, that's what I've been, you've been very senior editor yourself. You've seen it from within, you've seen it from outside. The manner in which Indian media has behaved in the last 1 decade can be one of the darkest chapters of Indian. There was a time when people like you would stand up and say, I'm a journalist. Everyone would look up to you. Young people would look up to you. And today, I know of friends. I mean, there's no dearth of honest journalists in this country. There's dearth of honest media, but there's no dearth of honest journalists. And honest journalists now feel awkward about saying that I'm a journalist. Just look at it. I mean, think of a day when doctors feel awkward about saying that I'm a doctor. A teacher feel awkward about saying I'm a teacher. This is what we have brought journalism to. So yes, of course, accountability. Of course, some professional transparency standards. Of course, there should be cross-media ownership ban. Of course, the conflict of interest. Which media owners have what kind of interest in things other than media should be made public. Who is gaining from this from the government? Who has got what kind of advertisements? All this should be made public. So there's a long way to go. But yes, we can begin with some baby steps, and today may not be a bad day to
Yeah.
start thinking about those things.
Mr. Yadav, do you expect, and right now, from my understanding, a lot of the power lies in the hands of Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu, who between the two of them have about 30 seats, and basically hold up two pillars to this coalition government that the BJP is likely to form. Do you expect them to stay with the NDA? And if so, will we see a different version of the BJP, which will have to be more collaborative with its allies than what we've seen so far?
It's a very good question, Faye. I'm not the best person to answer it because I actually am not so well versed with the Darbari politics of Delhi and the corridors of power. Honestly, I'm a very poor judge of these things. Uh, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu's love for Mr. Modi is no secret. Mr. Modi put him in jail, and someone who puts you in jail, you tend to remember that person. Uh, and Mr. Nitish Kumar's, shall we say, flexibility is fairly well known. So with these, what happens, who gets how much, we don't know. And Faye, the numbers right now show something like 290 for what is NDA and 240 for the BJP. BJP needs another 32 to form the government. Let's imagine it was 220. Would BJP not be able to cobble up numbers? Or would private jets not fly from the city where you are based to the city where I'm based? Would people not come, and would they not bring a few bags with them containing what? All this is going to happen, and I'm particularly bad at guessing those games. So yes, governments are cobbled up, and if those who can go to some lengths to form to get a mayor elected in the tiny city of Chandigarh, they can go a long, long way to capture the prime ministership of this country. So all those games would unfold. But I'm interested in the basic nature of the game. What interests me is the fact that it's an opening of democratic spaces.
My last,
Contestations are very much.
yes, I know you have to leave, but this is my quick question because I know you feel very strongly about the democratic fiber of our country and the secular fabric of our country. Is this a clear routing of the idea of Muslims, Mangal Sutra, all of the infiltrators, the people who can be told differently by the clothes that they wear, don't eat this, don't eat that, love jihad, vote jihad, land jihad, all of the things that we have heard being bandied about for the last several years? Is this election result an answer from our society to that kind of politics?
It's not routing, but it is a rejection. I tell you the difference. It's a rejection because all the antics that the prime minister did in this election, this M stuff, Muslim, Mangal Sutra, mutton, and what have you, it had actually virtually no impact. People heard it. Those who are Modi supporters said, "Are election mein aisi baatein kehni padti hain." They were awkward about what he was saying, but they said, "All right, he does it." And Muslims said, "Dekhiye na pehle se hi kar rahe hain. What is new here," etc. It simply did not work. Polarization technique did not work, and thank God for that. Yes, people privilege their real life issues, livelihood issues, other issues over that. However, I don't call it rout because that would mean that we've defeated them for a very long time to come. No, that's not the case. RSS and BJP are very much around. Their tricks and techniques are very much around the corner. And all that today's victory, I would call it victory for people like me, all that today's victory has done is that it has given us a foothold to fight this. The fight is still to begin. It's a long, long fight. The fight has to be political, it has to be ideological, it has to be cultural. That long fight, what RSS accomplished in the last 100 years, people like us have to do it in the next 100 months. That fight still remains, and I would alert and warn and plead against complacency on that. We have not won. We have just earned the right to fight the battle. That's all.
All right. Mr. Yadav, I know you have to leave, but I want to thank you so much for your time, and also for the fight that you tirelessly have been fighting, not just for the farmers of the country, but generally for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a joint fight.
Yogendra Yadav there joining us. I also want to remind our audience that Yogendra Yadav took part, led, and put a lot of his own energy and effort into the farmer protests. He was part of that team that worked very, very hard to get the farm laws rolled back when they had been brought in. And he was among the people who helped the farmers strategize their response in such a way that they actually met with success with those farm laws. We're going to take a break now. We're coming back at 7 o'clock with more analysis with our political analysts. So we'll take a look at who's going to make the government and what that government is likely to look like. And that's at 7 o'clock, guys. So come back then, all right? And if you want us to put out any more further particular analysis, leave me a note in the chat window and we'll add that to the analysis video that we're working on right now. Okay? Thanks for watching. Thank you. Come back at 7 o'clock.